I'm joined by Daphne Caine for Garff, a member who's very active in Tynwald on Tuesday. We thought we'd have a quick catch-up, actually, on some of your questions. I mean, you got a load, five questions. But two that really took my fancy, first of all, was buses, and you're interested in the electric bus idea. Where is Bus Vannon with this? Because I heard they had one on trial, but nothing much more since then. Or even
I don't know. I'm asking, when will they do technological trials with new technologies? Because in the strategy the Department of Infrastructure brought to March Tynwald, moving towards low emission travel, and this is their policy, when you get round to the public transport, it's all a bit woolly, so they're remaining technology neutral in terms of powering the bus services of the future. And in terms of innovating and leading, I think we'd like to see a bit more decision from our leaders in terms of political terms.
Yes, because they bought some more buses or something. There's definitely something up. They bought more, I think, diesel, haven't they, or something?
Well,
again, this is your question, I suppose.
The fleet is replaced over so many years, and if you're saying that you think that the IPCC is saying 12 years and it's crunch time in terms of climate change, where is the department? What's the direction of travel for the department in terms of renewing the fleet, moving towards hybrid or electric buses? I don't know. I'd be really interested to find out. Hence the question down. Oral question to the Minister, which can open up that subject, but also I've asked a written for trying to find out, how many miles does an average bus do in an average year? What's their current carbon footprint? What are their CO2 emissions, and what are they moving to?
And buses are hot subjects. Although I went on recently to the airport, it's fantastic. You've got the Wi-Fi and that sort of thing. It seems like a fairly modern fleet we now running.
They're really comfortable. They're exceptionally well provided for on the Isle of Man with bus shelters, looking after passenger comfort, the Wi-Fi, the announcements. They are very modern. They've even got the app now where you can see where your bus is. So obviously a little bit of interest because I previously worked for Isle of Man Transport, so I'm on the periphery of it. I'd just like to see the innovation carried forward and see them leading. It's all very well saying we want to see so many electric vehicles for the public to have by 2030, 2050. I think that the public would like to see them leading ahead with electric vehicles or just more environmentally friendly vehicles for the future.
Okay. The other one I'll talk about, which I haven't done anywhere else, I don't think, is about BBC. And this has come up after you've been to Jersey and Guernsey, I understand. Well, Jersey, wasn't it, you went to? You've seen the operation. So what's your question about that?
Well, we had a delegation visit the Parliament of Jersey in January, and that was extremely interesting on so many levels, finding out about their parliamentary system. I took the opportunity to visit Digital Jersey and had a really interesting meeting there for a couple of hours. But across the board, a lot of us had an interest in media. Obviously, we've recently had the report of the Select Committee into Public Service Media. That report has been pushed aside. An amendment, I think it was Tim Baker's, came forward and said Manx Radio to determine the business plan for the future and to come back to Tynwald in October. All so far so good. But what's the Cabinet Office doing? What's the Minister for Policy and Reform doing in terms of the BBC and its public service offering for the island? Because it was very apparent to us that Jersey and Guernsey had significantly higher level of media jobs in that space, serving the public service output for Jersey and Guernsey.
BBC has 3 jobs on the Isle of Man, maybe fourth, maybe I heard, maybe happening, I don't know. But how many people work? I know they're running radio as well as TV, but how many work in Jersey and Guernsey? Did you actually get a number?
Well, the numbers they gave me, and I've got some notes from the time there. We were very fortunate. I mean, it's very lovely to be able to facilitate it and have a tour of the building. Now, the building's a little bit higgledy-piggledy, a bit like here. They don't recommend you use the lift. They're all on different levels. The studios are quite small. It's a bit like here, but they're functional. They've got the BBC branding and everything. And their output, obviously, is online, the radio station and a TV 10-minute opt-out. And the newsroom they showed us in Jersey, extensive long table, and there were 20 journalists in Jersey and another 20 in Guernsey, and in both places around 30 staff in each place. But their output is a lot more. Now, I'm one of those people who actually thinks that the BBC licence, for BBC Radio 2, 4 and the news channel and the terrestrial channels, I think we get a fantastic amount of value out of our licence fee, but we do contribute the same as lots of other areas, and I'm still of the opinion that we perhaps don't get the same level of local output. And I think in a world where we're increasingly wanting, to fight against fake news. We want somebody that you trust, and having a multiplicity of output media channels on the island is a positive thing.
Surely the money that's spent, I think we've all said this, I have anyway, that if the money that's spent in the Channel Islands should be spent here. Would you think that's...
No, I don't think we can compare it, because obviously the Isle of Man has had a different situation. Historically, the Isle of Man has had Manx radio,
yes,
and there's a lot of love for that, and I don't want to take away from what they are doing. But in terms of the Isle of Man and its media offering from BBC Isle of Man, all my question is seeking really is from the Minister for Policy and Reform, what negotiations have the Cabinet Office undertaken to see about funding for the future? Are they even talking to them? Because I think that's what I'd like some reassurance on.
Okay, well, we'll find out Tuesday. You can watch it after the event with all the questions. You can also hear it online and see what answers you get, plus these other questions you got. So 5 out of 13 oral questions.
Tomorrow. Yeah.
Busy person.